Welcome to the Indiana 4-H Clover Call podcast, where our goal is to share information about the people and programs that make the Indiana 4-H Youth Development Program such an important part of our communities. We welcome youth and adult 4-H volunteers, 4-H youth and their families, extension professionals, and any others who are interested in providing positive opportunities for youth. We thank you for joining us for this episode, which begins now.
Welcome to another edition of the Clover Call podcast. I am Adam Tyler with Purdue Extension, and today I'm very fortunate to have with me as my guest Xiomara Vargas, who is a 4-H specialist here with the state of Indiana, and she works out of Purdue University. And today we're going to be visiting about her 4-H soccer program. Welcome, Xiomara, to the Clover Call podcast today.
Thank you, Adam. Very excited to share about the 4-H Soccer for Success program here in Indiana.
Well, I guess just a little bit of background on the 4-H Soccer for Success program. What made you focus on bringing this program or starting this program for the youth in 4-H here in Indiana?
Well, thank you for asking. Originally, what brought me or gave me that desire to bring Soccer for Success was after attending to a session that National 4-H Council provided to advertise about this opportunity working with U.S. Soccer Foundation as a partner. I had the opportunity to look to the overview of the program and also identify some aspects that I know as an extension educator I was pursuing when I was in that function. It was a program that was cultural appropriate, a program and resources that can help me recruit new volunteers, and also a program that can focus on like underserved and underrepresented youth. The reason why I mentioned the cultural appropriate aspect is because soccer, it's my, like, I'm not a sport person, but the thing is that I'm a fan in terms of like identifying opportunities that can bring people together, and something that might not be general knowledge is that the sport of soccer, it's well recognized worldwide, and it doesn't have like these distinguished in terms of like socioeconomic background, which means that when we talk about like new audiences or underserved and underrepresented youth and families that come from different cultural backgrounds, soccer can be that main aspect where everyone can like relate and understand that language. And when I was able to look through the resources and the curriculum that has been peer reviewed by other LGUs and universities, and also is part of the SNAP Ed program, I said, this is what I need, because align with what we promote through positive youth development.
I love that. And especially you mentioned like working with some of the underrepresented populations, especially our youth and some of the groups that maybe aren't as easy to reach as what would be other groups. And I just love what you're doing with this program. And from this program, have you, where have you seen kind of this? I know you're looking at spreading this program throughout the state, but where have you seen this program really take off in Indiana so far? Or where would be some of the strongest areas that has really picked up this program?
Well, to be honest, as I said, like what I look in terms of the qualities of this program, I already mentioned it, but the thing is that, yes, it has been created for underrepresented and underserved youth, but it doesn't mean that will be only for that audience, which means that just having that, baseline where we have like appropriate programming, it can help us to do the work we do with the
Hmm.
audiences we serve already, but also it will open the door for the ones that are not represented. But in terms of your question, of course, areas that are any area can be part of this because
Hmm.
as extension educators, we know and also are aware that our communities continue changing, and
Yes.
even we want to serve everyone in our community. We know that they are not represented
Hmm.
in our roster, in our traditional roster, which
Hmm.
means that this program can be potentially implemented anywhere. The only thing that is needed is to have that educator or community volunteer who have who can see the opportunity of having this program as part of what 4-H offer in those locations. But realistically, what
Hmm.
happened is that right now the program is active in Indianapolis area,
Oh,
and the
okay.
reason, yes, we have 4 schools that started the program last year as
Hmm.
part of their after school program. And this happened thanks to an invitation for partnership and collaboration from an organization that is sponsored by the Indians, the
Okay.
baseball minor league. They
Hmm.
they they start a program several years ago that is called RIFIT,
Hmm.
and we joined that. We had the request from the president of that foundation. He reached out looking for a collaboration from Purdue Extension. They were looking for a program that promote nutrition, physical activity, and community engagement. And I, as any with my background as a county educator, I was
Hmm.
able to just bring up like any type of program or like the plethora of programs we have in 4-H that can meet those requests. But even the program, the Soccer for Success, was not implemented yet at that time. When I brought up the description of that program and the
Hmm.
different components, that's the one that they said we need to have that program we want to offer that program as part of our after school. We ended serving in the first cohort 500 students from those
Oh,
4 schools.
wow.
We were there once a week. Um,
Hmm.
um, well, we were there twice a week, like twice a week in each school. We were able to expand our volunteer recruitment to new volunteers because we ended with volunteers that were college students that are part of the soccer program at their universities or colleges, which means that we recruit and train 44 volunteers that were acting as coach mentors for the 4-H Soccer for Success program in Indianapolis, and providing that opportunity in 4 schools to 500 students for at least 3 months. We had to stop the program due to the pandemic, but after that, we were able to supplement the experience with some virtual programming that was created by a team from Purdue Extension 4-H educators. In terms of other places, we had Dade County already launch a light version of the Soccer for Success program
Hmm.
during spring break, and it has been very successful. I still waiting to hear more about like their accomplishments. We are in the evaluation stage right now,
Hmm.
but then I have other educators that had been like working in other counties like Laporte
Hmm.
and San Joseph and Du Bois County. They had been looking for opportunities through this type of programming as well.
I love to hear that this program is starting to spread throughout the state because I think just anything we can, give back to our youth and teach them the positive, you know, things that this program can bring to our youth is amazing. And one thing that I noticed in your program is it's broke up into the 4 areas that 4-H focus on, our head, heart, hands, and health. Why how is each of the programs, because I notice you have each of the modules, how have you kind of taken each of those programs and been able to focus on each of those areas that 4-H has and take what that program does and then give those kids a piece of each of those major areas that 4-H focuses on.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that up. And
Hmm.
that was part of the supplemental version we
Hmm.
created as part of the 4-H Soccer for Success.
Hmm.
And that's the thing, like, normally it will be a little bit hard to, or maybe not easy to explain in terms of like this soccer program is
Hmm.
recreational soccer. It's not for competition.
Hmm.
Um, has not been created for that purpose. But the
Right.
thing is that yes, we spend as part of the like how the curriculum works is that we have to provide at least 60 minutes of like physical activity
Hmm.
with these students in terms of teaching those aspects of nutrition incorporated to the soccer
Hmm.
aspect. But the thing is that as an extension educator, I I remember I learned from one of my previous district directors. They said, if you cannot evaluate or if you cannot relate things directly to 4-H,
Hmm.
don't report it. And the
Yeah.
thing is that every time that I have a program in my hands, like with the qualities that this 4-H Soccer for Success curriculum has, I
Hmm.
said, okay, all the positive youth development framework it's there, it's explicit there. How I can translate that to 4-H because this curriculum was developed by U.S. Soccer Foundation.
Hmm.
The thing is that when I had the opportunity to like find myself in terms of like 4-H and the soccer program, I
Hmm.
said, well, this is my opportunity to build that bridge between what the students has been experiencing at the school setting as part of their after school participation
Okay.
and try to relate that to a document or not a document, but it was just like the activity lessons that can
Hmm.
relate to 4-H. And this is the reason behind that is that soccer is it's sport, yes, but
Hmm.
behind soccer you have science, you have nutrition, you have career exploration, you have the well-being aspect. And when I create those lessons that were with a group of educators that supported me um, from uh, Gail O'Connor and Rachel Rolls. They
Hmm.
were part of the team with myself. I
Okay.
said, you know what? This is an opportunity to bring that aspect of like 4-H in terms of highlighting the four components of 4-H, but
Hmm.
also linking that to, as I said, the career exploration, the
Okay.
community service, taking care of yourself in terms of the healthy living, and your well-being. In terms of the soccer sport facts, so many great things happen through history. Like why not to bring all those different components and link that to each area of 4-H, including what 4-H offer and what 4-H is about, because these
Okay.
audiences that we had been serving are new to what we do. And that was
Hmm.
a natural fit to make sure that we can reinforce the message of who we are and our purpose.
Well, I love that. And I love that how you tied all that into this program and just to give the kids so much more just out of something neat, but then just give them something extra that just, you're just able to help them in all those areas, I think is amazing. And I noticed that you have it broke up into modules, kind of how you have the program laid out. How long does it take, say, if a person were to complete the program, or if they were to do the full Soccer for Success program that you have developed? How long of a period of time would a person expect to take to complete the program, or would you recommend for them to give to be able to truly commit or complete the program in a way it's meant to be?
Okay, because we just have to be realistic. In the 4-H
Hmm.
world, we have so many things to do.
Yeah.
We cannot focus only on one program, and this program
Oh
has
yeah.
not been designed for an educator to take over and direct the and
Okay.
provide the teaching.
Hmm.
My recommendation is for educators to continue being sensitive to look for the talents
Oh,
around
okay.
and resources at their counties, and
Okay.
then train them educators, in order for us to provide Soccer for Success, yes, we
Hmm.
have the right and authorization of using the curriculum, and also
Okay.
a super healthy, fabulous relationship with the U.S. Soccer Foundation.
Okay.
But the thing is that educators that are planning to have these these programming at their counties, they have to be trained
Hmm.
and get certified as coach mentors. If they
Okay.
cannot be trained, someone from their county has to be trained, or the people that will be offering the Soccer for Success need to be certified as coach mentors. We have the capability to provide the training
Okay.
because we are national certified. We have 3 individuals in our county, including in our state, including myself, who can certify coach mentors.
Oh, okay.
Every year at the U.S. Soccer Foundation offered a national training
Hmm.
for Soccer for Success, and that's the one that I was able to attend in 2019. But
Okay.
as soon as we are able to to get back to like in-person
Yeah.
conferences and trainings, they will continue doing that. Right now, what US Soccer Foundation is doing, they are providing free virtual trainings for coach mentors. We
Oh,
cannot
okay.
add more trainers in our state roster to
Hmm.
train others, but they can be trained by the existing ones or from for these opportunities that U.S. Soccer Foundations provide, which means that
Okay.
that's a way to do that, and also
Hmm.
to look for places. In this case, when
Hmm.
I refer to places, I'm talking about local partners that can
Hmm.
help support this. Just remember, this in this case, the curriculum that we use
Hmm.
has been designed to run up to 12 weeks
Okay.
sessions per year. But the thing is, in terms of the how intense the program works, it's like it's designed for 3 days per week
Hmm.
and of integrated learning activities. For an example, something that we promote is the form of a 4-H club
Hmm.
and also family engagements. But the thing is that when we look to after school settings,
Hmm.
because the recommendation is to take the program to where these audiences are. It's not just to maybe just create a, let's say, a Spark club and say and host that at your office. That
Okay.
might work, but I had not been through that experience yet, and for
Hmm.
that reason, I cannot guarantee that will be successful.
Hmm.
But I can tell our educators that this is an opportunity to connect with after school programming
Okay.
or summer programming, and in addition to opportunities created by any community program that can be more than, I will say, more than 6 hours of teaching. That will be the minimum I will recommend in terms of experience. But the
Okay.
curriculum we have at this point available, it gives
Hmm.
you up to 12 weeks of
Okay.
3 days learning lessons. That means that it will be up to 36 lessons. And the
Okay.
curriculum, we have 3 levels where you have from kindergarten up to second grade, from third to fifth grade, and from sixth grade to eighth grade.
Oh, that's awesome. And
Hmm.
you had mentioned about getting sponsors. What kind of cost is associated, or like when you talk about sponsors, what types of costs, say, if somebody were to want to bring this into a county, what kind of costs would they expect to maybe have with this program that they would need to get like a sponsor to maybe help cover so the kids wouldn't have as much of a fee or cost associated with doing the program?
Definitely. Now that I had the experience of like walking through my first like realistic experience in terms of
Hmm.
implementation, I have
Hmm.
to say like right now we have some support. We have funding that can help support the
Okay.
purchasing of equipment. We like these programs are fantastic. The resources are fantastic, but
Hmm.
before thinking and implementing, we have to look for like how much will be the cost, what kind of materials we need, and maybe depending on how they want to implement the program, what additional resources they will be needing, knowing that they should, like the advice is not just to take this program and lead it, because it will not be sustainable. And that's something we
Mm-hmm.
want to promote in terms of like building capacity, bringing people who can find their place in 4-H and let them lead programs, which means that in this case, going to your point, the if we work with a light version, just thinking about
Mm-hmm.
like, let's just buy the balls and the nets that are
Mm-hmm.
needed, that are very it's not that expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It will depend on how you want to handle the program. I will say with a
Okay.
minimum of like maybe $200, you can run a session. But this is the
Okay.
thing, like when I the way that I promote Soccer for Success is it's just looking to the long term. Like
Okay.
the same way that we promote like or that we host shooting sport in 4-H, I see
Mm-hmm.
Soccer for Success like taking that route in terms of
Oh,
like
okay.
working with these families, getting established a club, which means that any other type of like um, expenses in terms of like what is required for a regular club. Well, if we think about having these youth engaged in
Mm-hmm.
this program, for sure we have to think about the program fee. That's not part of the cost of
Yeah.
like Soccer for Success. It's part of like the cost of like the investment. Let's just say it that way. The
Yep.
investment on having these students and these families having access to all the other opportunities 4-H offer as 4-H members, which means that
Absolutely.
yes, in my case, when I like based on the expectations of my sponsors or my partners, I have to look for funding for stipends for a program assistant because we are
Mm-hmm.
talking about like handling for school after school programs. To provide this program, it has like
Mm-hmm.
a time investment, which means that even I was supervising, I was not able to also provide the teaching every day
Mm-hmm.
that where we were in those schools, which means that it just add some complexity. But thinking about small scale, I will say with a budget of $200, we have like a very
Okay.
good um, uh, for a group of referring to a group of like let's say 15 to 20 students,
Okay.
um, because all what happened during these lessons are related to one or two bowls, let's say it that way, or one bowl per student,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just based on like the interaction and the content of the lessons. It's not based on equipment. Something
Okay.
that add up to these costs might be like the incentives of like if you want to take it to us another level will
Mm-hmm.
be the aspect of like getting a jersey for an example. That's something that we provided in our previous
Okay.
session of Soccer for Success, um, or maybe providing or giving a ball to each student that is part of the program, which means that
Okay.
as I said before, the cost realistically is very very low. It,
Yeah.
everything will add up based on how you want your program to look,
Okay.
based on the implementation piece.
Well, I think that that's tremendous information, especially for someone wanting to bring this program in. It gives them a little bit of guidance just to kind of what to expect. And just kind of, especially when it comes to funding, I know right now with all of our programs, I know that's a big thing that a lot of us worry about, when we look at funding, how we can get some of these, especially some of these populations that may not have as much, extra money to be able to pay for a program, how we can still make sure we get these youth involved. And I just love this program and I love what you're doing with it. And I think it has so much potential to be able to just really get kids involved and get them out there and moving and doing things that are just going to help all around. And I guess to end our day today on our podcast, if somebody would like to reach out to you and be able to get more information on this, how would they be able to get in contact with you to find out more, or just some, whether it be in the training or just some general questions they might have if they're interested in bringing this program to their county or their area?
Definitely. I will be happy to get involved in that brainstorming and
Hmm.
also need assessment, depending on like the interest of the educators. But they can always reach out to me via email. They can um, send me a message. My email is
Okay.
xdiazv as Victor ar at purdue.edu, and my office number is 765-494-0349, and
Hmm.
my cell phone number is 765-203-1772. I also want to say, in addition to what we discussed in terms of
Hmm.
sponsorship and collaborations, it's always good. We have the right product.
Hmm.
We have something that it's needed out there, and
Yeah.
I just have to say that the intentionality on marketing this will help educators to identify partners and sponsors who can help with the financial aspect.
Okay.
Uh, right now, we have several grants or awards out there that are
Hmm.
sponsored by corporations who are seeking for organizations like us to provide youth programming, and that something that they are also seeking out, it's like that these programs should be research based, and that's us, which means that we just have
Hmm.
to keep eyes open and ears open to these opportunities. I have those identified,
Hmm.
some of them already, which means that I will be happy to also send a notification to the educators to
Okay.
let them know what is available at their local communities, where they can just uh, look for Soccer for Success as an option
Okay.
to have build this partnership with these corporate sponsors.
I really do truly appreciate you just chatting on the podcast with us today and sharing about, the Soccer for Success program that you've brought to Purdue and to Indiana 4-H. And I just want to thank you, Ziamara, for your time today and just taking the time to just share all this amazing information today.
Well, thank you for having me, and feel free to reach out. I'm here to see more for Soccer for Success happening around Indiana. It's very exciting. And as soon, oh, something that I forgot, like this
Hmm.
program is also available virtual, which means
Okay.
that, like if we continue in some of the limitations of having like in-person
Hmm.
programming, Soccer for Success can be an option for you to continue providing services to your new audiences in your local communities.
Oh, that's great to know, especially in, each of our counties are in different situations right now, and to know that that's another amazing option to know that educators have for sure. So today,
Yep.
Ziamara, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, and I would like to thank all of our listeners on the Clover Call podcast for joining in. And definitely, if you're interested, reach out to Ziamara. And we just want to thank you, Ziamara, for today. And thank you to all of our listeners who joined in on the Clover Call podcast. Have a great day.
Interested in learning more about Indiana 4-H? We invite you to visit our website, extension.purdue.edu/4H, or contact your local Purdue Extension office and ask for the 4-H Youth Development Extension Educator. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss an episode. We look forward to joining you again on the next Indiana 4-H Clover Call.